Welcome to the What's in Store podcast from IDDBA.
All right. Hello. I'm very excited to be here today with somebody that is very talented, a very talented retailer, Brian Freeman from Northeast Shared Services. Brian's a category manager for specialty deli. And I'm very excited that you're here with us today, Brian.
I'm very glad to be here and talk cheese.
All right, let's talk about cheese. Let's dive right in. So tell us about this. Can you tell me, do you remember your first cheese that made you fall in love with the category?
You know, when thinking about what I would fall in love with a cheese or what my first specific cheese, I would say it was more regionality. Growing up, I grew in upstate New York. I wasn't really a foodie per se. And that all changed when I took a leap and moved cross country at 18 to Colorado, actually, for college, and was exposed to obviously big city life in Denver and that whole area. And it was more the foods and then the regions of, you had a huge Mexican influence and all Asian influence from it's multicultural. And so those Southwestern like cuisine and cheeses and spice and all of that really got me to become a foodie. So once I started like living in a big city and eating all kinds of food and varieties, cheese is one of those things where I never had imported Italian cheeses or all that, but you'd go to these great restaurants, right? And so it just was exciting to start eating great food and to experience all different kinds of things. If you then fast forward to this position, I would say for the cheeses that I personally love, and I love to do this with a board and make it, if I'm doing a board for my friends, like our slice of cheese, if you take the same cheese, like a cheddar, and then you do multiple ages of the same cheese, that's what really gets me excited because a 2-year cheddar is completely different from a 15-year cheddar, right?
Yeah.
And the people are just blown away. They don't understand that really. So that's what I like to do. So those are the things, that's kind of how I fell into this role, or my passion comes from, is traveling the world and trying different varieties.
Brian, that was great. Your passion just exuded out of you talking about the cheese. That was really fun. Thank you. So tell us what global cheese, so you're talking about regions, what global cheeses or regions are inspiring you right now?
So I think you have to look at what's happening right now with like the Southeast Asia and all like ube, right? Came out of nowhere. And these flavors, you have the gochujang and the Korean influences that are coming into the food culture. Like Mexican, Latin flavor cheeses, like it's almost like they're now so mainstream, right? You know, the costillas and all that stuff. It's like, and they're great. And everyone's making street corn, right? That's just like a popular thing now that 5 years ago, if you said someone what's street corn, they would have thought it was a roadside stand corn. I don't know what they would have thought. But now it's like everybody's got tortilla in their fridge and that's a fun thing. So you see these influences, like again, like I just said, ube came out of nowhere, right? From the Philippines, the purple root. And now you see it. We actually just introduced a cheese with ube in it. It's this purple, cool, like vein through a Gouda. Delicious. You got that vanilla flavoring. But that's kind of like where I think this thing is growing. The Italian cheeses continue to be your focus and your number one drivers, right? And you can never do any wrong with any Parmesan imported. It's just like going to sell, right? But the cool innovation, these different flavors, whether it's spicy or hot or whatever, coming from that area, I think it's really cool because it's just so different, right?
Yeah, that's really interesting. And we don't often think about Asia when we're thinking about cheese. But I can see where you're going with it also because we've seen an explosion in Asian food from the sushi to the hot bar, right? So all around as a region, Asia is really growing in the food industry.
And they say like, it's like kitsy, but they say it's the K-pop influence, right? Like put all the eyes on like that part of the world, right? So it brings all the food. And look at now, I mean, again, 10 years ago, hot pot restaurants and all those only existed in the bit large cities, but now every suburb has got some kind of Korean barbecue restaurant theme, right? So it's just as it's coming out and that's becoming like to me, that's what you see like emerging, and it's just a cool, different set of food visuals and tastes and stuff like that.
Nice. So connect the dots for me a little bit. So you're in Denver, you're becoming a foodie. How do you get to your position that you're in now? You were in Denver for college, right?
Correct. So I have lived all over the country and done all kinds of things. So I think that also adds to my my lens, how I'm looking at things, because I have lived all over the country in different parts, whether it's from California to Louisiana. So all the different varieties, influences of food that I've been exposed to, is most people are not pretty much exposed to all that in their life between their 20s and their early 40s. So I bring all of that to it. How I ended up in this particular role, I've been on this desk now 7 years for specialty cheese deli for our company. It started, I was in the stores doing work, so I've done every job in a retail store up to store management. And then our wonderful director, Carrie Zwerline, took a chance on me and brought me into the office she knew I had a passion for food and was a foodie, and here we are. So it's an interesting thing, and I've worked, like I said, in every kind of industry. But that adds to the excitement and my open eyes. I haven't just worked in retail my whole life.
So tell us, and we talked a little bit about this the last time that I saw you, but how do you decide what new cheeses to bring in? So is that instinct? Is it tasting? Are you watching trends? How are you choosing what SKUs and what flavors to bring in?
So I think every buyer would say the vein of our existence is TikTok, right? You could wake up one morning and something is super popular and all of a sudden everyone's asking for this particular cheese, i.e. the feta craze a few years ago, right? Yeah. But in general, I think we're traveling. I think that's important. I get out in the field. I travel this country attending trade shows like IDDBA. I go to visit manufacturers, different regions, and that's how I kind of look to see what's happening. I think if you stay in the office and you don't get out there and you have to get out and see what's happening at these shows. It's just as important for me when I go to like IDDBA, not just to walk the cheese aisle, but I like to walk the bakery stuff and the other areas of the store because you have to see what flavors the other people are doing, and that'll eventually translate over into cheese.
How do you stay ahead of social media?
Lots of scrolling. No, I mean, obviously we invest in brokers as well. You know, we're very blessed. I've got good brokers who are also out there in the field doing the same thing, right? Researching and working with manufacturers and trying to identify trends for you with data. So that is one thing that I think is a very important tool for someone as a buyer. I obviously can't be everywhere. I can't be looking at everything. So you rely on a network of good people to be showing you good data, ideas. It's an all-comprehensive thing. It's not one thing that I'm looking at. You do have to stay up on top of what's happening out there in the current social media world to see what's happening.
Well put. And I think that's one of your strengths, Brian, is having a really good network and staying connected with people. I have a fun social media question. Does Taylor Swift eat cheese?
I guess I got behind on TikTok for one day. It is crazy, though, how like that one celebrity or one TikTok trend can really blow up, and overnight, something that no one ever heard of, people are suddenly knocking down your door. It's a little confusing at times, but it's out there.
No, for sure. She blew up sourdough, right? Talking about sourdough, and then everybody's on a sourdough kick.
Yeah. And then I always go back to the old, and this is like years ago, but like look at the Rachel Ray with olive oil, right? Before she talked about olive oil, it was like 3 bottles on a shelf in a retail store, and now you have whole aisles of it, and that was really because of her, right, with the EVOO. So it's just crazy how one person can just overnight flip a store and what you're selling just because of what's out there.
Yeah, interesting. So tell me about the most unexpected pairing that you think works.
Okay, so I'm a sweet person when it comes to cheese and baked good stuff. I am not the like savory person. If you know me personally, you know I am a huge sweet tooth. There's always baked goods on my desk or something like that, or candy. So one of my favorite things, and it's not that unexpected, I don't think, but like the Biscoff cookies paired with like a Roth Grand Cru or like I love that, like, you know, it's like a Biscoff cracker with it's not super bizarre because I'm also not like super crazy when I think about this, but it pairs so well. It brings out the like caramel and the cheese and the sweet and salty together is perfect. But I also say, and this is actually not my pairing idea, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say this because I'm kind of famous for this pairing that I had to do with the owner of Deer Creek, Chris Gentine, but his rattlesnake cheddar, which is really spicy with tequila. I never really thought of drinking tequila with cheese, but there's a hint of tequila in that cheese. It's really super spicy. There's a whole story here that I won't get into, but you do with the tequila, it is crazy wild, crazy good. I always say, too, to people when they're building a board, don't be afraid because everything pairs with everything. I think people get caught up with, what do I put on a board? Listen, open up your cabinet, keep it sweet, keep it salty. Cheese is like a wine. People are going to find the flavors will come out with what you're pairing it with. Right now, like huge and, is apples where we are right now, right? So any kind of good cheese will go with an apple. Like it just, don't be afraid. And I think people get hold up in that and they become afraid. I was just at a show and they had this Meyer lemon blood orange pepper jelly that was delicious. And it was like, okay, that's a weird like trend, but a weird flavor. But when you put it with this like farmhouse cheddar, delicious, right? Open up that jelly container and throw it on a cheese. You're going to be okay.
That's interesting. And as you're talking, this just came to my mind is formalizing it by using the word pairing, right? As soon as you say pairing, you're like, ooh, I don't know, because I've got to have flavor profiles and put things together. But like the fun of just throw two things together, stick it in your face and see if it works.
I always say like make it colorful and fun and inviting like anything. Worry more what it's going to kind of look like than what the flavors are necessarily particular flavor. Don't get hung up on this is pepper jelly. Is it going to be good with the cheddar? Make it look and fun and appealing. You see the boards now where people are doing the whole all one color, like everything on the board is orange or everything on the board is purple, and you just find it. And I think that's just super cool and different. And again, makes it just a different look than just like what is actually on the board.
Nice. So let's help out some of the retailers out there with your experience. So what's your favorite way to turn a cheese browser into a cheese buyer?
So I think, if you go into my store, I like to say that my cheese cases are a fun, exciting treasure hunt. And I think especially cheese should be a treasure hunt. We shouldn't be neat and formal like soldier stacked on a shelf. That's the dairy aisle rule, right? So our case has to be fun, exciting, whether it's the colors of the cheese, the labels of the cheese, the fun flavors of the cheese, fun department. If someone is standing in front of your case, it has to look exciting and come to life. And, you go to some retailers and it's just stacked like soldiers and it doesn't tell the story of the cheese. This is fun and exciting stuff and we should shout that out. So when you're merchandising it, right? The peaks and the valleys and really get some display vehicles in there, but also take a chance with these cool flavors that are emerging. Or if someone is standing in front of your cheese case and going to buy a $9 piece of cheese, they're not looking necessarily just to buy a plain cheddar, right? They're looking for something fun. Have to keep it innovative, which our case all the time. I have new stuff coming into my case all the time. Yes, seasonal, we flip it for spring, summer, winter, fall. So once you have them on this great cheese and award-winning cheese, which I work really hard on making sure, our cheese case is best of class, you can have the fun flavors in there because they trust you, right? About building the trust. If you look at my sales ever since COVID, I've never gone negative with units or dollars since COVID on my cheese case. I've grown every year. You can't say that from a lot of departments in the grocery store. That's kind of like unheard of. But I think it's because we keep it fresh, exciting, and it always is a treasure hunt. And it's fun and fabulous, and it should be fun and fabulous. Your case should be a showcase. It shouldn't be the stacked like soldiers throughout the store.
Very nice. That was good. That was well said. And you are not afraid of adding SKUs, right? I know there's definitely a balance between too many SKUs, of course, but you are good at adding SKUs to the case and, like you said, making that treasure hunt.
Well, our warehouse hates me because I'm always putting that thing full to capacity. But like if there's a slot, I'm taking it for cheese, right? But you should go out there and do that, right? And push limits. But I'd also say education is a component too. We're very good about our in-store signage. Our advertising team in-store makes some really cool signs. I give them the material, the recipe, the cheese. We do the QR code. We make a 7x11 sign with the cool charcuterie board. You can scan it quickly, and all the items that you would want are in the cheese case. So, I don't want to overcomplicate those signs either. I think we get too complicated with the QR code. I actually want the sign to be simple enough that if you just looked at it and took a picture of it, you can pretty much find the 5 or 6 items and figure it out on your own. You don't need to go to some complicated recipe on a QR code. You can make that recipe kind of just by visual sight. I think that's key too.
I was just doing a presentation yesterday and found through some research that still the old legacy easy way to increase your sales is samples, right? Get that cheese in the customer's face.
Yep. And we do active and passive sampling as well throughout our stores.
So tell me, what's your guilty pleasure snack that involves cheese? Is it going to be these cookies?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I guess you go back to like, if you were to like go raid my fridge right now and see what's in there, my go-to favorite cheeses, and there's a few that like you will always find in my refrigerator. The Satori garlic and herb like Bella Vitano is amazing, and I cut that up and eat it just whole. But I cook with that, with like throw it into some pasta, and just add a little cream and melt it down, and it's just just a great cheese. I can take a Wood River cheddar Gruyere and just chop that thing up and eat it with some chocolate. So there's usually a bag of chocolates and like Kit Kats and all this other kind of stuff in there, and I just can eat there and eat the whole thing with a box of chocolates. It's delicious. So blue cheese, I put blue cheese on everything. I snack with it on everything. Mash it up and make a dip, and just get a really good that Kingston blue cheese. If you haven't had it, it's delicious. Mash it up with some chips. So like. I'm constantly. There's always just cheese at my desk or in my fridge that I'm just nibbling on all the time, with fun things like just like again, don't like whatever I find in my cabinet. I'm like, this will go with blue cheese. The other day I was eating like some like ruffled potato chips with like this blue cheese, and it was delicious, right? So like, it's just you have a really good cheese, so you can eat it in just lots of different ways.
So if you had to describe your cheese section as a personality in the store. So tell me what that would be like.
It's a happy place. It's a happy, fun, fabulous experience, and it should be fun and outgoing. I would say my cheesecake is outgoing in that it's shouting out fun, unique flavors, and it has excitement to it. So you'd walk it, and you'd stand in front of my case, and you're going to leave happy. So I just think it's engaging. It's well spread out with varieties and flavors, so you can find something and you're going to leave happy. I think the key is I work really hard with our suppliers to make sure that everything in the case is best of class or top of class, so you're not going to be disappointed if you take that cheese home. I think I tell this all the time to people, we take the fun out of it when we try to just stick with we don't change it up, we just keep the same old, and well, that's fine, and it'll chug along. This is the perimeter of the store in general, and IDDBA. We talk about this all the time with the bakery and the deli. Like, we are the showcase of the store now going forward, right? The perimeter. We have to be the fun and exciting place. You can buy a can of coffee anywhere in the world and even online. You can't buy cheese or fresh baked goods online really and get it delivered, and it's that theater, right? So we have to shout it out. We should be proud of what we sell, and it should be the reason someone's coming into our store now to shop our store.
So I'm going to do a little rapid fire cheese speed round here for you. So okay. You're just going to go through which one you like here, Brian. So sharp cheddar or creamy Gouda?
Ooh, sharp cheddar. Like I said, go back to the ages. Like, give me some 15-year-old aged cheese any day. It's cheddar. It's delicious. I do like Gouda too, but I will take the aged sharp cheddar. All right,
crackers or baguettes?
Oh, now that's a stumper. So I don't like to pick a favorite here. A really good cracker is my little go-to vessel, but it depends on what I'm doing. So I do like a good baguette too. Depends on the day of the week, I guess.
All right, melted or sliced?
Oh, we'll go with melted. I actually like cooking with cheese, so I melt anything. I cook with anything. I will put it in. So, like I said, we talked about that, like garlic and herb. I chop that thing up and I put it into my pasta and just melt it down. So I'm going to go melted because honestly, when I'm eating cheese, I'm usually cooking with it, so it's usually melted in some fashion or cooked in.
Goat or cow?
Oh, cow's milk. I think this is a really interesting thing, though. You're seeing the goat category grow and the sheep's milk, right? The non-cow's milk, but I'm still a traditionalist. I like the cow's milk.
We just did a webinar on goat charcuterie, and it was bananas. It was very highly attended.
Well, yeah, and you're seeing, you've got these great companies out there, but the goat logs have come from a long time ago, from 10 years ago, have really evolved, and the flavors and It's really cool. And I do have great partners like Go Industry, and it's crazy what's happening, but it's delicious.
Grilled cheese or mac and cheese?
Oh, mac and cheese all day long. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And you take some of these like Wood River, the Wood River cheddar gruyere I talked about actually earlier. I know I did earlier. I did talk about that, but put that in mac and cheese with some good sharp cheddar. Yeah, mac and cheese all day long.
So tell me, you don't have to give a brand here, Brian, but the most overhyped cheese.
The most overhyped cheese. I don't think there is such a thing as overhyped cheese, to be honest with you. I think it depends on where you are in the country, but also what you're doing. And I love all cheese. I'm not going to throw one under the bus.
And then tell me, what's the most underrated cheese?
I would actually go back to kind of like the sheep's and goat's milk. I think a lot of people have a lot of, and listen, they've come a long ways in the last few years that, people think like, oh, I don't like goat cheese, right? And they're so different now, right? The processing, the flavors, these creameries are doing a great job. The mixed milk cheeses are super popular now and emerging, right? So even if it's not whole, it's on cows and sheep's milk together. Those are underrated people, and I think people just need to give everything another chance because it's not your grandma's goat log anymore. It's now a new, it's completely different. So I think that's probably why they're growing, right? People are giving them a second look that they never did, and the companies that are out there doing this are phenomenal, and they're doing great things with that category. So you're seeing that grow.
Nice.
Go out there and find a piece of cheese and try it with something new that you find. So you won't be disappointed. Feel free to contact me or come say hello when we're at the IDDBA show in Orlando. I will be there live in person.
And working in cheese. I'm very excited for that.
And working in cheese at What's in Store Live, correct. So.
Yes, perfect. So, Brian, thank you so much for your passion for talking to us today about cheese. Thank you. Thanks, Brian.